Uh, I'm from Gifu, Japan. This is the photos of Gifu, which is famous for the Gifu Castle and the biggest firework display in summer. And this is cormorant fishing, and this is a big river, Nangala River. So this is my hospital. As you know, the ITA-LAD graft is very important, influencing the long survival after the CABG. And also, the bilateral ITA is also very important for the young patients. In my very small number of the experience of the ITA-LAD, I bypassed on the 280 patients isolated with CABG, but one graft was blocked. It means that the latency rate is 99.5%. But honestly, I did a revision on the 5 patients. I don't know if whether the grafts would be blocked. But anyway, if this revision was concluded as a blockage, the patency rate would become under 27%. So how to detect graft failure and how to decide this revision is very important for surgeons. This is the history of the evaluation of graft. Initially, we started with the electromagnetic flow meter, but recently I am using the transit-time ultrasound flow meter, TTFM. This is about 20 years ago. I started to use this type, but it could provide mean flow and peak flow, but it could not provide real-time diastolic fraction or pulsatility index. So this is the machine which I am using now. This is a very Q system from Medistim. It can provide transit time flow meter and also the Doppler velocimeter. We can see the real-time mean flow and the PI and the DF during the operation. So how to detect? Do you think this graft is bad or good? Is this graft flow low? The mean flow is 15 and the PI 3.3 and DF is 76. It looks very nice. So we should know what is the competition, and when we think that this is a failure, how we can decide the revision. Usually, the clear cutoff value for the graft have not been reported. Usually, generally speaking, the mean graft flow of under 10 to 15 is not good, and the PI over 5 is not good. I always do the proximal occlusion test for each graft. It means the occlusion the native graft after anastomosis and measure the flow. So there are 2 types. Some patients, the flow increases after occlusion of the native flow, and some patients, the flow decreases after the occlusion. This is some sample. You can see the flow meter here. I occlude the native, the flow decreased. The another, sorry. So mechanism of the changing the pattern. If the native stenosis is very severe, the native flow is very low. It means that the graft flow is big, but it supply the flow to the septal or diagonal branches. So after occlusion, the native flow, the graft flow increases. If the narrowing the native flow is moderate or light, the native flow is still good, and the graft flow is small. After the occlusion of native flow, the graft should increase. So this is the relationship between the flow pattern, the increase or decrease. If the stenosis is moderate, there is many increased pattern, but in the severe stenosis, there's no pattern of increasing. The another feature of this machine is velocimeter. I always also measure the velocimeter just after the anastomosis and occlude the native flow and the graft flow. I want to say that the goal of anastomosis is to getting the good flow on the distal LAD. So even after the occlusion of native flow, if the graft flow did not change, the result should be all right. So this is a sample. I'm measuring here. So the velocity is good. After occluding the graft flow, the velocity decreases, of course. The another thing is important is that this is control velocity, and even if I occlude the native flow, the velocity did not change. I think this is a very good result. So this is a sample of the revision case. This is a very bad flow, and so after the occlusion, native occlusion, the flow did not increase. So I did revise. After that, the graft was very nice. This is very difficult cases. The graft looks very disastered. But after the occlusion of the native, the flow increased. So I did not do the division. The graft was patent. So, and this is another sample. I had a very bad experience. The 58-year male, the plan is lighter to LAD and lighter to circumflex, and to the vein to the right coronary artery. So these are off-pump cases. I did cut the LAD. So this is the problem. The external shunt was a little bit too large. Eventually, there is some dissection, which was not notified later. So anyway, I did from cabbage to the ITA-LAD to anastomosis, and eventually. And after that, I measured the graft flow. The graft is very nice. It looks very nice. But after native occlusion, the graft flow decreased very much. So I was very doubtful of the anastomosis, and I did the velocimeter after just after the anastomosis. The velocity was not good. This is the proximal site. The velocimeter is very good, but of course it is a retrograde. So eventually there was some dissection. So I put a vein graft to this distal LAD. You can see there is no bleeding from the cutting the arteries. The probe could insert it in the proximally, but there was no bleeding at all. There was a dissection. So I put a vein for the emergency. After that, the velocity became good. So honestly, I showed the angiography. This is the data. The LAD was completely blocked. But the flow on the liter was very nice by the flow meter. So there's some limitation of the velocimeter. So this is a vein graft to the LAD and the Y graft to the LAD. The patient did very well and discharged very, very well. The same phenomenon was reported by this doctor. This is same. This is a bypass to the right coronary, but it was blocked. But they say that the flow meter looks very nice. So recently, I started to use the imaging inspection. This is the iris, and this is also the SPY. But I'm not happy with the, we cannot see the anastomosis site very clearly. I think this is a very famous picture in Romania, and but we want to see the beautiful lady more clearly. So I'm using the VeriQ system with imaging system. It can be, we can see the anastomosis by ultrasound image. I put a stabilizer and with a jelly and with some sheet like this, longitudinally and transactionally, we can see the anastomosis. So this is the LAD to LITA to LAD. We can see the anastomosis very clearly. And also we see the Doppler color. Even for the right coronary, we can see this is the vein graft to the PDA. This is a big surface vein to the small PD, but we can see the anastomosis very clearly, like this. This is a report of comparison between the ultrasound and the angiography. 60 correct LITA-LAD on the peak and incorrect, intentional incorrect anastomosis on the peak. Suture crossover in 20 and the pursuing in 20 and deep toe stitch in 20. So they compare the reliability. They say that ultrasound shows the incorrect anastomosis very clearly rather than angiography. It is a crossover stitch. So the accuracy and the sensitivity is much better in ultrasound sonography, they said. I show another bad case. This is a dissection on the LITA. You can see the dissection on the LITA. The flow was very nice, but the ultrasound showed a very bad image, so I did, of course, division. Oh, it's very not good dissection on the LITA. So I did the revision, and the ultrasound showed very nice anastomosis. And the flow was good. So in summary, I want to say that intraoperative evaluation of LITA-LAD is very important, which is the key graft influencing the long-term result after CBG. What we surgeon can do intraoperatively detection and detection of dissection, hematoma, kinking, and twisting, and decision for division. Another important thing is ultrasound, understanding the competition between the LITA and the native coronary artery flow is very important. The combination of TTFM and imaging inspection is very powerful to detect anastomosis failure. This is a Japanese bullet train, namely Shinkansen. Do you know this one? This is a yellow Shinkansen. We call it Dr. Yellow. This is an inspection car. It runs 3 times a week, and it's searching the width of the rail and everything by this train. So if we see this yellow Shinkansen, we are very happy. Thank you very much for your attention.